The relationship between Scotland and England has always been a fragile one. From wars through the Middle Ages to a close independence referendum in only 2014. And now, the will of the Scottish people is being publicly defiled by those in a government elected by England and elected for England. Over 3.5 years ago, England went to the polls and decided that it was their will to leave the EU, as is their right. Scotland, however, on the same day went to those same polls and decided they did not. Now, all these years later, Scotland, against the will of every single constituency, against the will of 62% of its populace, is being dragged out of the EU, with absolutely no say in its own future. A future which seems more and more likely to be disastrous. A future even those in England never voted for. During the Leave campaign, now Prime Minister Boris Johnson described the odds of a no-deal Brexit as 1,000,000 to 1. However, since taking the top job, cabinet ministers including his own brother and former Work and Pensions Secretary and senior Tory MP Amber Rudd have resigned and sacrificed their positions within the party, all because they know, as the people should, that a no-deal Brexit could be catastrophic for the entire UK. But not even because of the likely economic meltdown or the food and medicine shortages that would be a no-deal Brexit. By violating the will of the Scottish people and risking the economic prosperity of the whole UK, Boris Johnson is pushing Scotland further and further from Britain. As a result, there's been a resurgence in independence in Scotland, as exhibited by the endless protests, marches and polls. While 5 years ago Scotland narrowly voted to remain part of the UK, it's now showing an almost dead tie between Remain and independence, with a massive 12% of the electorate as of yet undecided. These critical votes will be crucial for any push for independence, and a large amount of these votes will be directly influenced by the outcome of Brexit. In his address to the Conservative Party after becoming the unelected Prime Minister, Johnson outlined one of his top priorities as strengthening the Union. Since then, he's also announced a £300 million fund to be split between Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. However, while this may seem like a lot, this is merely a third of that which was given to Northern Ireland alone for the Confidence and Supply Agreement which got the current government into power. But in truth, no amount of money is ever going to be enough. Johnson knows, as do many other politicians, that if his plans for Brexit ever see the light of day, it will be the end of Scotland as part of the UK. When he visited Scotland shortly after becoming Prime Minister, if his intentions were to strengthen the bonds that bind us, he failed miserably. After countrywide protests to his taking office and his plans for a no-deal Brexit, Scotland's First Minister was understandably unwelcoming, with the aftermath of their meeting causing a surge in independence polls. The Conservative Party have never had much support in Scotland, but now the right wing have seized control, and they are purging those from their party who hold any centrist values. They've made it impossible for any Scotsman to give them their vote, as evidenced by recent polls conducted by YouGov, which showed that the Scottish Tories would win only 19% of the Scottish vote, far from the 29% they enjoyed in the last general election, never mind the massive majority they enjoy from England. Johnson's made Scotland a country ruled by the right wing, something it would never elect, pushing Scotland closer and closer to independence. Johnson, much as Theresa May did in her tenure, has blatantly ignored the will of the Scottish Parliament, which after voting in favour of petitioning Westminster for another independence referendum, was rejected without so much as a vote in Parliament, against the will of the elected Scottish Government, who actually have a standing mandate for a referendum. Theresa May simply said that now is not the time, insinuating that once Brexit is done, it would be considered. However, this presents a massive issue for Scotland, and that one of the main reasons for their leaving the UK is to remain a member of the EU. As it stands, the people of Scotland will be ripped from the EU without a say in its own future, long before it could ever dissolve the Union. And unlike the last independence referendum, where the key issues were that of currency and defence, this referendum would be focused on a single issue: Scotland's rightful place to remain within the European Union. If Scotland leaves the UK after Brexit, it wouldn't be as a member of the European Union. Scotland will have already been forced out. So, where does this leave Scotland? Scotland is being dragged into chaos and another recession against its will, with no way of getting out before the mayhem truly commences. It has been left without a choice in what form Brexit takes, never mind whether it happens or not in the first place. It is a country whose wishes are time and time again ignored by those elected by England, by those who rule from England. A country whose vote is ignored by those in power. A country once again being ruled over by a foreign land without a say in its own future. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you're still watching at this point, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to this channel for all future uploads.